a man who has done tremendous work in uncovering the corruption and the conflict of interest between civic groups and our politicians and developers. I was with him on Sunday, as he walked through his community, showing us how you were connecting all of the corruption going on. And I want him to tell you his story. Michael. Citizens Defending Libraries.
I'm Michael White. I'm a co-founder of Citizens Defending Libraries. Citizens Defending Libraries was formed a little bit more than 2.5 years ago in response to the breaking headlines that we were deliberately underfunding our libraries in order to sell them off as real estate deals that benefit developers, not the public. Who would have thought it? We are telling ourselves that this is a wealthier city. This is a city where we have a supposedly progressive mayor. The libraries are more used than ever, and we know who uses the libraries the most. The library use is up 40% programmatically, 60% in terms of books, and those are physical books. Who would have thought that we were underfunding the libraries? So, I've got a picture to show, but I'm going to keep you waiting for a minute to see it, but it tells a story. I don't know how many times I've been here on the steps of City Hall, and we have talked about something. Money in politics. Money in politics. Why do we wind up here so often talking about money in politics? Because it's money in politics that separates us from our elected officials. It's money in politics that means that they stop representing us and what we want. In other communities, smaller communities where the people are close to their elected officials, they're building bigger libraries, better libraries, they're having more books. But here in this city, when money comes in, we get a cycle. The money turns into power, the power turns into a tilting of the playing field, and the rich get richer, and they take it away from the poor, and they take it away from us, and they take it away from the middle class. I was listening the other day to National Public Radio, and I was hearing someone who was introduced as an urban planner, and he said, well, gentrification is many things, and it's sometimes hard to describe. But then he wanted to say that there's an upside to gentrification. He said, you know, the good thing about gentrification is that maybe we invest more in our common assets, what we all use together. Really? Really? When we are selling off our libraries to developers? Now, this is a picture I want to show you. This is one example of what's going on in Brooklyn Heights. This is a central destination library. We enlarged this library at considerable public expense and inconvenience in 1993, and now we want to replace it with this luxury tower. This is a 400-foot building, 36 stories tall, designed so the all luxury apartments will have great views of the harbor. Down in the bottom, where a grand library that we publicly invested in once stood, would be a tiny, squashed, shrunken library, shrunk down to just 1/3 of what it was. We just expanded it in 1993, and now we would shrink it down to 1/3. This library is worth over $120 million to the public. What would we be selling it for? Practically nothing. In fact, there's no assurance that we'll actually get cash. Now, it's not just the libraries that are being sold off when money in politics separates us from the representation that we deserve from our elected officials. We are selling off our parks, We're selling off our schools. We're selling off our hospitals. We are selling off the NYCHA units. I'm sure you know that the de Blasio administration plans to shed over 14,000 NYCHA units, as well as other property in the NYCHA developments. Now, yes, Alicia came with us on this march on Saturday. We called it a Connect the Dots March. It was to save our libraries, but it was also to call attention to the fact that the sale of the libraries is connected to the sale of our other public assets. And what connects it is it's the same lack of representation. It is the same people or operatives behind the scene over and over again, and it's the same playbook that they use. Underfund our public assets, deliberately underfund them, drive into the ground, and then say, oh, well, it's not working. You see, we have to sell it off and privatize. So one thing I want to tell you, one last thing. I know we're headed over a little bit later to city planning. Well, at city planning on Tuesday morning, there's going to be a hearing on this proposal. I invite you all to come. They're going to ask whether this sale and shrinkage of a public asset should go forward. Please come and join us. This is the first time there's ever been a hearing on the sale of a library like this, and it's precedent-setting and momentous. What we do is going to this hearing is going to make a big difference going forward, because if they can get away with selling libraries, they can get away with anything.
Thank you.
It starts at 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
I suggest you get there as early as possible, even though we are second on the agenda.
96% of our community is residential, so we're packed with people. We are very integrated. We have 60% people of color, 20% Jews, and 20% white. So we're an integrated community, but we are also facing serious gentrification. You know what's burning? The idea of a rezoning. They decided they were going to rezone and put up towers. But why would you want to put up towers in the densest community in Brooklyn? That's also the second most affordable community in Brooklyn, because it is a very moderate income community. Why do you want to do that? Well, take a guess.
Get them out.
The Pearl Views, people! The Pearl Views! That's why they singled out the community. It's because they wanted tall towers, just like those tall towers over there for the river. Any community of color that was moderate income, that has any potential for a view, was zoned to be rezoned. But how does this happen? It happens through our community board. And we have a very corrupt community board.
Controlled by the board.
Controlled by the borough president. And yesterday, EMTA filed a lawsuit against Eric Adams, borough president, because last year he violated the city charter by putting 18 new board members on. The community board 9, when he was only allowed to put in 12. He violated the city charter so that he could control the community board, so they could request a rezoning of our community that would put sky rises all up in our community. And we've been fighting that. We were able to document. We filed 4 lawsuits so far against Community Board 9, and this is our first one against Eric Adams, and we're not done yet. We are not done yet. We are not done yet. But you know what they all keep telling us? They said that's what de Blasio wants. De Blasio wants development in our community. De Blasio wants it. When I tell de Blasio, one term, de Blasio. How many times?
One term.
How many times?
One term.
How many times?
One term.
You better get it right, de Blasio, because you are not representing the people. You are representing the developers. But we are the voters. We vote. They may got the money, but we got the vote, people. And every community is under attack, and everybody's talking about it. De Blasio is with us. He better start paying attention to us because we're continuing to organize and fight back against this. How many times? How many times? How many times? Okay, that's me.
Representing South Asian community in 5 borough. And there is we are most affecting as a Muslim, as a minority, as a brown color. We are under threat of hate crimes and less affordable housing. And this family is almost over a month is homeless shelter. There is no affordable housing for South Asian as a colored Muslim. And we got hate crimes under hate crimes threat in Chicago, beaten as a Muslim wear a turban. Hijab or a hijab and turban is not a terrorist. Is not a hate crime under. And 14 years old got suspended as a Muhammad from the school board because he's a Muhammad, he's a Muslim, he's a brown color. We should have to fight for it. Our right. It is our right. It is our city. It is our state. Brown color has treated oil. Brown color, black color should not be matter. We all are human. We all are under one ethnicity. We all are one umbrella. Please take care us. Not take care as a Muslim,